In our last lecture, we talked about whether the difference between black folk and white folk is because of genetics. And we said, well, it doesn't matter whether it is or not. So that was a question mark. We didn't disprove it or prove it. We just said we don't talk about that kind of business. So let's talk about black culture, shall we? I'm not going to talk about black culture. Come on, I'm an old crippled white guy on the internet. Do you think I'm going to talk about black culture? So let's talk about poverty, the culture of poverty, see. And I want you to think about the bourgeois, the upper middle class, those parents who are married and college education and have good jobs and their kids go to good schools. I want you to think about those people as one culture, and then I want you to think about the poverty of culture. So let's talk about this boy, and his name is Bob. Don't worry about his color. Bob is from 3 generations of poverty. His great-grandmother, his grandmother, and his mother all were on welfare and food stamps. Bob was born when his mother was 16. She dropped out of high school. He doesn't know his father. His mother tries real hard to be good, but sometimes she's not sober. Those times now Grandma takes over, and Grandma's good. Grandma doesn't let anything go. Grandma is on welfare, but she takes care of kids on the side. So there's a house full of kids, and she rules with an iron hand. But young Bob, when he was growing up, doesn't have people reading books to him. He doesn't have grown-ups focused on him. That's not how life is in his house. There's a lot of kids, and he plays with the kids, and he watches TV, but that's pretty much what happens. So Bob goes to school, kindergarten, small public school. Now, good teachers, there's some good teachers in the school. In fact, his kindergarten teacher is just fantastic, and he loves her, and man, it works really well. Kindergarten works really well, which is good. You want a good kindergarten teacher. However, in first grade, his teacher gets pregnant and has complications, and by October she leaves, and there's a long-term sub for the rest of the year, and it's just a wash. And then his second grade, he just has a terrible teacher. And I'm not criticizing teachers, but if you work at a public school, raise your hand if you work at a public school. Bravo to you, by the way. You're a better man than I, younger than I. I've only worked at private schools, and I don't think I could handle the public school life. But if you've worked at a public school, tell me, if you could take over the public school, are there some people there that you would fire on the first day because they're worthless? And the answer, I think, is yes. And poor Bob got one of those his second grade year. His third and fourth and fifth grade were okay, neither good nor bad. But see, Bob is average. Bob's not smart. He's not dumb. He's not great at sports, but he's not bad. The one thing he's really good at, he's a sociable kid. He's a nice kid. He's not a mean kid. But by the time Bob reaches 6th grade, Bob's behind. And even though Grandma wants him to do well in school, by the time you reach 6th grade, it's who you hang with. It's your peers that have the most influence on you. Now, he hangs with the cool kids, the basketball kids. They play basketball well. And he doesn't play basketball well, but he's on the team. And they like him because he's funny and he's a good kid. Everyone likes him. But he's not hanging out with the robotics folk or the mathletes or the really smart kids who are working hard. He doesn't hang with them. And the cool kids kind of don't really care about school. They know that no matter what they do, they're going to 7th grade, and then they're going to go to 8th grade. And that's kind of how he is. He just sort of skates along until he reaches 9th grade, of course. And once he reaches 9th grade, you realize, oh my goodness, I have to actually do stuff to get credit. And that first year is a terrible year for him. He hasn't done anything. He has to take summer school, and grandma's like on him like a white on rice. And so he's working hard, and he doesn't like it, and then his friends are kind of giving him a hard time. He does 10th grade, and he does a little better, but he can't read very well. He's got like a 5th or 6th grade reading level in 10th and 11th grade, and by the time he hits 11th grade, he's just like, I'm done. And so he quits school. Now, I'm sorry, but if you want me to hire Bob, I'm a business owner now. I'm looking at Bob, and I'm like, Bob, here's what I want. I want someone really smart. I want someone who works really hard. I want someone who's very dependable, and I want someone who can get along with folk. And Bob can get along with folk, but he's not that dependable. He's never been disciplined to turn things in and to show up on time and to be places. He doesn't work hard. He's never worked hard. He worked hard at basketball. I forgot to tell you, of course, he didn't make the high school basketball team because he wasn't that good, and so he worked hard in middle school, but nothing came of it. So he's not that big into working hard, and so I'm not going to hire him. He's a nice kid, but I'm not hiring him. And he couldn't finish high school, for crying out loud. Again, I'm not saying it's his fault, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a bad kid. I'm saying this is a kid who's had a life where it was just a different culture than regular folk. So let's talk about, well, why are these folk all poor? By the way, the high school that he goes to is Phyllis Wheatley, so we'll pick that up later on the next episode.